What is going on, you guys? It is I, Dog Cost Crypto, here with the incredible, the fantastic, the wonderful Gary Woods, man. Funding Jim, what's going on, bro?
I get so jazzed up whenever I watch the intro to your show. It's really whatever that music is, that charm, something inside of it is like, fuck yeah, let's go.
It's Meme City, man. Meme City, man. Now, you guys make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And yeah, man, for you guys who don't know, this is Funding Jim. He was with me when we did the original interview with Richard Hart over there at Fresh and Fit. So definitely go check him out at Funding Jim on wait, you just have Twitter, right? Twitter and Instagram?
I've managed two accounts for several years. I really didn't get into Twitter until 2018, maybe mid-18. I was just looking up my oldest tweet, and it was about Hex. But I am Gary Woods Win, like Richard Hart Win, but Gary Woods Win. And that's my public persona. And then I have a brand or a company name called Funding Jim that's just legacy. But the legacy, everyone inside of Hex or the community knows me as Funding Jim. I'm just more prominent now as Gary Woods.
Got it. So heck yeah, man. I had the great pleasure of meeting Funding Jim over there in Miami, and we had a ball. I had a lot of fun with Richard and everything as well. It was a very interesting trip, if I had to say so myself. I don't know about you, man, but Richard's exactly how I thought he was. I was hoping he was going to be exactly how he was, and he didn't disappoint. Let's just say that much.
Well, you think about the introduction to Richard, whether you had been watching him, I think you had been watching him well before he ever announced his own project or anything like that. And, it's like, who is this guy? Oh, well, he's an OG Bitcoin guy. Is that why he's eccentric? Like he has a throne, he lives in some castle and some, European, landscape or something. What is this guy all about? And it's that larger than life presence that it's built up for many years, right?
Right.
And then finally, when you meet in person, like the first time I met him in person was in Zurich, Switzerland. And, this is when he's rocking his Prada elevator boots or whatever it is, his super galoshes. And I'm like, what is this guy? Who is this guy? Like, I thought it was an image or AI on the internet, and now it's a reality. And you wonder, like, what is the projection of personality versus the real guy? And, you and I got to spend 4 or 5 days there, along with Trevor from the music industry, with Richard every day. So what was your impression? I think it had been a while since you'd met him in person, but what was your impression over the social time that you had with him?
So I've got to say this politically correct. Hold up. Let me let me make sure not to say exactly what I want to say. Exactly. But he was a ladies' man, which is what I was hoping he was going to be, right? He did not disappoint at all, man. Like, as soon as, the moment I met him, right, and he walks in with 2 blondes, basically, that he picked up at some restaurant after, like, having dinner with his father, I think, or some family member. Great guy, gave me a big old hug, and the first thing he tells me is like, "Damn, Miguel, I thought you were short." I was like, "Another one, Jesus Christ." Do I just like have a billboard on my head somewhere that says like I'm a 5'5" guy?
It's one of those things like the movie industry. You finally meet a celebrity or you see them, and it's not eye to eye. Like Tom Cruise, I remember seeing him, maybe 20 feet away from me, and I was like, "Wow, he really is short," like they say. Or others inside the community or whatever. You never have a sense of scale, right, until you meet them in person. And the same thing with Richard. Like I had a certain impression of like his body size or scale. And then when you meet him in person, he's like a regular guy. I mean, it's very interesting.
Oh no, definitely. Super smart. Really, like he's a people. I mean, he's really charming. He's a really charming guy. Really charming guy. Real charismatic. Every person he meets and stuff just always gives him the time of day in order to kind of say, "Hey, it's very nice to meet you." This and it's very genuine and stuff. So he's a really genuine guy when you meet him in person. Obviously, like there is this whole thing of like you have to have a bit of an internet persona, right? And it is what it is. It's marketing, right? And like that's one of the reasons why me and you wanted to talk today too, is to kind of talk a little bit more about like, hex marketing a little bit, or crypto marketing, or just marketing yourself in general and stuff. And this is something that you've always been like a big proponent of since the moment I've ever like got to know about you, because you were talking, I think initially about kind of onboarding the traditional space into the hex ecosystem and the crypto ecosystem, and everyone was like, la 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 la. But they didn't understand how like, I got the same thing too in the beginning too, like the classic strategy of everybody to onboard people into crypto is basically try to steal other crypto people. That's another thing. Let me be so cool, such an asshole, such a cunt, whatever the fuck the strategy it is. Let me cause a bunch of drama. Let me tell you why the person you're following is such shit, and I am God's gift to fucking earth. Let me tell you, and then come follow me. Don't follow them, you little lambs and stuff. I will lead you away from the slaughter. Right? That's crypto Twitter. That's crypto Instagram. Crypto. I mean, everything in crypto. It's basically this this very small man mentality, and it's a very dumb mentality, because it's like just the other day, right? I was talking to Silver, right? We were talking to Silver, and I think he may have said this on a recent stream recently with Silver the Antidote. He had said that more like, because he's a big on-chain analytics guy. He reads the blockchain and he looks like at how everything is being kind of done through like Etherscan. And he was saying he pretty much even doubts there's even 10 million active users in DeFi total. Obviously, there's people just holding coins on Coinbase, on major exchanges. But that's how early we still are right now. And there's people said like the S curve is like topped out now. This is it. You know, we're not getting any bigger. I was like, no, you got like there is so much room. Like it's not going to be nothing crazy until you hear like you're in every single taxi service. I mean, this is your mission, you guys, when you're in Vegas. Like every Uber you guys take, every taxi you take, you got to convert those guys into Hexicans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've gone through this wave, especially, you know, again, you've been in crypto for longer than I have. I got initiated basically in the early part of 17 and was cautious and leery for a while. And then I found a product that I believed in at the time in maybe October, maybe September of 17. And it was instantly in my mind, it went from being startup culture, Silicon Valley, you know, you have social credit on the line and reputation on the line, in addition to capital, to all the degeneracy of ICO, you know, shitcoinery that happened in 17 and 18, right? And then you realize, oh, there's a reason why people don't have social accountability. There's a reason that they don't have, you know, even the LinkedIn profiles are some other person, like famously Ryan Gosling being on the board of an ICO. You're like, no, he's not. Like someone just took his picture and put it on a LinkedIn profile and called it a real guy. So a lot of that kind of thing, the anonymity of Twitter, the anonymity of the internet comments and things like that. You know, I think we tried to get through that a little bit in 19 and 20, even at the launch of Hex, was, hey, here's this guy that's a founder, and here's this community that's, you know, gathering around this narrative of, you know, staking and, you know, the reward of the time value of money and all these different things that we were learning in 19 and 20, 18, 19 and 20. And then I remember that there was a push for people to wear like suits. I remember there was a stream that was either on Discourse or something where everybody showed up in a suit. Like it was a
yes, I think I remember. Everyone like they just put a suit on a monkey.
Yeah, you see RG3 in a suit and tie, no bandana. You see like the caricatures that we were representing on the internet come down to, you know, a different audience, you know, trying to attract a different audience in general to look at what we did, as a community, or look at what this invention or innovation is of Hex. And, you know, we had some benefit that were locked down. 2019 and 2020, you know, we're locked inside of our own homes. We can't really have the same social available to us as we had before. People started streaming that never had before because they were bored. They started doing more than just, you know, burned out on Netflix and saying, how can I have my cake and eat it by I'll be social on the internet and talk about a product that I like, or, you know, a founder that happened to battle someone that week on the internet. Right. So that evolution. And I think we've gone through this a few times where people will say, you know, how can I speak to this audience when this outrageous thing is out there, right? Someone that's very religious, and they say, oh, that's not for me because you guys use bad words or whatever. Or, you know, this isn't speaking to, it's hard for me to onboard my banker, or for me to onboard my wealthy guy that lives in my neighborhood because he doesn't take us serious, right? Now we've grown and we've broadened, and the industry as a whole, to some degree, has matured because it's been around longer. I don't know if it's all mature, but some of it has matured because you see, you know, Wall Street is here. It does participate. It does push the price. We were begging for it in 17 and 18, and now it is here. And now you have to, you know, consider, what do you want out of your crypto? What do you want out of your community? Who do you want involved? So we all, like I've been saying for years, you speak to an audience that's an amazing audience that does a lot. You've done so much benefit to Hexicans that are involved with Hex product, but like, I really trust your narrative. Like you get a sense of the whole industry, in my opinion, better than us kind of on the inside of this line of only Hex, only Ethereum, Pulse Chain, only Richard Hart products, you know? So I think you've been done really, really well with that narrative for yourself too.
Yeah, I mean, I like my goal is just really to onboard the most amount of people into the crypto space, and hopefully, you know, through doing that, I can like hopefully get them into coins that I personally like. But at the same time, it's a net positive where like, you know, I'm bringing people, me and Charlie, as well as a couple other people, you know, we're bringing new people into the space, which are easier to mold and kind of talk to and stuff. Cause it's a big problem because the minute you're in crypto and you've been in crypto for like 6 months, a year and stuff, you become a fucking know-it-all, which is the problem. I mean, everyone's like, yeah, that guy, yeah, like that dude's into Doge. I'm into Shiba Inu. Obviously, Shiba Inu is the premier top flight, you know, meme coin on the internet and stuff. And, you know, actually we're doing a token burning pretty soon and stuff. Shout out. Make sure to use my link in the description box. But, you know, you know, that's basically like crypto right there. Right. And because it is this kind of competition because I mean, there's only so much attention. They're all just basically crabs in a bucket trying to bring each other down. Yeah. Bitcoin's great and everything, but Ethereum. Okay, yeah, Ethereum's okay, I guess, if you like high gas fees. But my L1 is the best L1 in the whole fucking world. Your L1, bro, shit. Your L1's so shit, bro, that my L2 is going to make your L1 look bad. All of you guys are stupid. My layer 0 is going to be the infrastructure below all the buildings and all of crypto. Well, sir, I'm in the multi-plane verse and stuff. You know, it's just like it's just gonna continue. It's like, how can I keep fucking one-upping you motherfuckers? Like, that is crypto basically, right? And then, you know, me and Charlie are just like, we're just gonna bring people in and just while you guys are fighting, we're just gonna make money off of you guys being stupid. Basically.
Well, it does feed into, you know, the start, you know, like you've seen cryptocurrency, or we all know the histories where, you know, basically banks bad, government bad. Let's come up with our own peer-to-peer cash, Satoshi narrative origin that first appeals to the not chaos, but like let's have our own way of trade. And then later it became the gold and silver people that says, hey, here's another form of money. It's a metal token. And I'm going to give you this for my groceries. So the people that say zombie apocalypse and the only way we're going to trade is not going to be through banks and computers. It's going to be through, you know, me plunking a doubloon down on the countertop, right? So that's the next pool of people that really participated really in crypto. And then Silicon Valley is really a startup culture, a lot of nepotism, a lot of, you know, my friend's kid is launching an app. And they go to the same school in Stanford, and you know I'm going to support it by throwing some, you know, some of my home equity, you know, my $1 million Palo Alto house. I'm going to take some equity. I'm going to throw it in this startup. So there's a lot of that kind of narrative in the past, and what you find is, in my opinion, is it feeds to the gaming culture of, you know, if you're playing video games, there's not very many people that just play one video game for several years of their adolescence and they don't play other games. Like they're going to pick up, they say, oh, this is on Xbox. This is on PlayStation. This is this game where you're a first person shooter. This is this game where your strategy partnered with someone else. So we like games as humans. And this is another form of a game. Speculation is a game. It's a game, you know?
Right. No, definitely. Oh shoot. Well, I accidentally did something by accident. Whoops. Oh well. Showed the wrong link in the wrong chat. Whoops. Dang. Well, oh well. I'll be kicked out of that group. But oh well. Anyway. Sorry, Maximus. But it's a lot. I mean, like that's an interesting sort of topic. I mean, obviously, I don't want to go into the whole stream about nepotism and stuff like that because I mean, there is natural nepotism even in Hex, right? Because you know, if the OG Hexagons have money and they are more open minded, they start diversifying their capital and some of the money they made through Hex into some of these projects that help Hex. So in a way, we're kind of crowdfunding, the whole hedron thing, right? Like, I mean, let me pull something up real quick because I am a supporter of hedron. I like hedron quite a lot.
Smart, man. Everybody's talking hedron.
Heck yeah. Well, shit. Hopefully some of you guys listen, man, because when I was telling people to buy hedron, basically you could have got $1 billion hedron for about $600, $500. And today I would say that's not even 2 months ago, really. It's worth almost 6,000 today.
Yep.
So 10x in your capital in under 2 months. So that's just because I saw that this asset was working on things and it was oversold. And the one thing that I did like about it is that the kind of where it was trying to peg itself was basically to the B share / so wherever the t-shirt, if the t-shirt, people don't understand the whole B share t-shirt thing, and I'm not going to go too much into it, but basically as a t-shirt rate keeps going up, over time it kind of carries up hedron as well. So it's got lockup features and stuff to lock up hex and give more utility to hex and stuff. So these are sort of like products and stuff that are adjacent that actually help the whole hex ecosystem, just like Pulsecon will help the whole hex ecosystem. And that's, I mean, in a way that's like healthy nepotism, if there's ever such a fucking word. But what you're talking is more of like, there's no, like, unless you're part of that certain group, you don't have that opportunity. And then the beautiful thing about crypto is you can get in the beginning of many projects and make quite a lot of money and kind of make your own sort of group. So there's kind of is like like people who aren't in, I feel bad for people who aren't in crypto. They're missing out on the biggest wealth transfer in history that's going on right now. And that's why me and you and everyone else is just like screaming at the top of our lungs going like, what are you dummies doing? Like right now, like, this is the only place where I can tell you where, like, I say this all the time, you could take you put $100 into crypto now. Worst case, it goes down to $40 in like 3-4 months. But in 2 years, that $100 could turn anywhere from $600 to very well over $6,000. That can totally happen. And nowhere else in the world can a normal person get those kind of returns. Those returns are almost exclusively put out there for, like, you know, the nepotism capital, which is pretty much like you have to know somebody that knows somebody that in order to invest into a startup very early on. Yeah.
Well, I mean, again, when you do the math and you actually look at the returns on, popular cryptocurrencies, you know, we talk about Hex a lot as this hyper performer in its histories. 1,000x of $100 is $100,000. It's not just 6,000. You know, 1,000x. And there are many products in the crypto space that have done 1,000x. And then there's the super performers, which are, you know, 10,000x or 100,000x or a million, you know, examples. Depends on your holding, right? And that's, again, why we like, you know, you like and I like is, you know, these derivatives, which are, you talked about Hedron, you know, right now I think that there's a lot of momentum and interest and curiosity and participation in pushing the chart price on Hedron. And like you said, it was oversold quite a degree. There's a fear factor in hexagons, especially about, is this, you know, shitcoinery, or is this actually helping the product of Hex be known? Like if the community, you know, I don't like the default setting, which is Richard Hart said this was good. I'm a hexagon, buy my token. I don't like that kind of thing. I want to say, okay, how is the game mechanism and how is this immutable and all the other characteristics we care about? And it requires, you know, a staking mechanism. There's only like 9% of all Hex is staked. And out of that, if you're staked, then you're generating Hedron, right? Otherwise, you're buying it off the market and playing the chart game. So I like the product of a Hedron. I think it was built synergistically to where both products benefit each other. As long as the communities recognize there will be a wave, in my opinion, there'll be a wave as far as price. There'll be a price that has a little nose over, in my opinion. And you still go back to the core value about why was this so valuable? And it goes back to Hex as an origin. You know, here's the source of the wealth, you know?
No, definitely. Yeah, it's got to have a utility and sort of a helping benefit, right? And and it doesn't mean that like a coin has to be like 100% tied to the price of Hex or anything like that. But just something that overall brings value into the ecosystem is really, really great. You know, I mean, Pulse Chain technically, I mean, like obviously you are getting the initial value of like you get the copy instantly of PHEX and all that. But then after that, I mean, it's kind of just, it's an Ethereum token for the most part, right? But it does allow you to transact in a faster, better way and significantly lowers the cost for staking.
Well, again, Richard comments truthfully that these are all just excuses to hold.
Yeah.
You know, Bitcoin only has 21 million. Bitcoin has proof of work. Ethereum is utility. You know, these are all speculative instruments, intangibles. You don't eat them. You just use them to speculate on price. And then if you extract price out of that, you buy the stuff you want, the services and goods you want, right? So they're all basically ideas. And, you know, you can say that proof of stake has value. Proof of work has value. And in my opinion, Hedron has value because it's another form of proof of stake the stake just happens to be based on hex stake.
Right.
And then you have other staking that's available in hedron for the psychosis and these other derivatives of derivatives. But again, what my reason to want to stream with you today so much is, these are kind of a niche inside of a niche inside of a niche that hyper performs because it has low liquidity and high participation and speculation. But I really want, as you know, I'm in Las Vegas and we go into this Pulse convention.
Yeah, shout out to my boys out there in Vegas, baby. Shout out to all my desert fox. Watch out for all those desert cheeks.
I learned that 2/3 of the participants, both audience and sponsors, are not related to Hex, not related to Richard Hart, not related to even crypto, some of them, but they're very interested both in their capital and in their influence to participate.
Can you say that again? I don't think that can you say that that's such a crazy fact, because I didn't even. I mean, you were just telling me this before the stream even started. Like, I did not even I figured maybe like 70-80% of it was going to be Hexicans, and of course, new people. So can you say that one more time?
Yeah, I learned yesterday, and again, we will see what comes to the table. I am making calls to all of the sponsors and all of the speakers and panelists later today after this call. What I learned and what was relayed to me was that out of 450 audience member tickets, 150 or so have Hex logos, or they're known Hex related, or they're Richard Hart supporters. So about 150, about 1/3. About 2/3 are actually outside of the ecosystem that Richard Hart has been promoting or building for so long. So I thought that was an interesting metric, and it does have a lot to do with Pulse Chain being a new L1, lower transaction cost, Ethereum as far as trustworthiness of the code and things like that as a reference, developers that can move their liquidity potentially from Ethereum and pair it with their liquidity on Pulse Chain. There's a lot of people that are very interested both in real estate and real estate related crypto. So how do you move out of cryptocurrency into real estate, or real estate into cryptocurrency? A significant chunk were related to that. Significant chunk are NFTs, specifically with music NFTs. There's a lot of entertainment speakers that represent large audiences, artists that have large audiences, and producers and things like that will be speaking. Co-founder of Netflix, co-founder of Redbox, co-founder, the president of Meta Entertainment. There's significant people on the stage. You'll be speaking as well. That have nothing to do with the people we've spoken with in the past regarding Richard Hart products or our community. So it's really more surprising than I thought it would be. I thought it would be more of a social time, happen to hang out in Las Vegas, entertain us, and that's what the tickets were going to be used for. But I really care only about networking. So when I was going to come, I was just going to come to support, other people stepping up on stage, basically talking to the same audience, which is Hex-related Hex people. But now I'm more excited about the networking opportunities to pass through the panelists and the audience that has nothing to do with our existing community and grow it. That's really my focus.
Right. Yeah. And you're really good at that. Because there's some Hexicans that are so good at making content and then are pretty stiff as a board when it comes off the camera. Not saying any names. But where you're really good. You do a lot of great connection work and stuff, and obviously I think that has a lot to do with your background, honestly, for a long time. Obviously everyone does sales at some point or does some version of sales, but a lot of the time, meeting people and everything, it is this, even guys, guys who pick up a lot of girls are usually really good at sales as well too. So it's ladies, men, and things, because it is sort of
be amazing at sales then.
Yeah, you should be extremely amazing. I've seen some of the honeys you be picking up. I'm not saying anything more than that, but I'm like, hey, Jim, okay, you devil dog.
Well, again, so I am an oddity, but you can pick up these skills. And I love the content that you did with Justin Waller recently. Right. And, basically the charisma content, the ability to social calibrate against your audience or for your audience, whether it's an individual or if it's a group, these kind of skills I had some hard knocks in my life, and I just picked them up or learned them as I went. To be a good wingman, not a simp, stand your position, but a good wingman, both in sales of yourself or your friend that's with you as a wing person in the dating culture, and then outside of the dating culture, those rejections, they really help you. Like if you are instantly seen as good looking, well calibrated, and all these other things naturally, you never really have rejection. And when you never have rejection, when you finally do some, other part of your life, some other aspect of your life, you don't know how to deal with it. So like dating helps. It does help. Adjusting and changing your environment. Like, I'm always in an unfamiliar area. Like, I think I've moved before I was 17. I think I'd moved about 15 times. I had a lot of, like, my parents and things like that had stepbrothers and stepsisters, and changed schools a lot, and I had a lot of dynamics in my youth. And then the career options I chose once I became an adult were always kind of environments that made me change often. So the military sends you to a particular training evolution or training camp, and then you go to some other school or a different base or a different friend circle that you develop, right? And then if you stay in long enough, you might even change your career or what you're doing. So I was always in medicine in the military, and then pivoted to different specialties of medicine in the military. So started.
So is it because you master things so quickly, or was it more because it was like you were just itching to continue to learn something new, or like what was it?
I was always curious. My curiosity was always like, when I get bored, it's because it's the routine. Like now I know how this all works. Now I know where I'm going and what I'm doing, next Thursday, because it's kind of pre-planned. Like I don't necessarily, even though I was in medicine for a long time and I did work in different hospitals, I always took up, I just always was curious about either new technology inside of medicine. So I was always in some kind of education flow, or biology and chemistry and things like that. So medicine was a large umbrella with a lot of different specialties underneath that umbrella that I got to specialize in. Right. But yeah, I just naturally had curiosity until I got burned out, really. And when I got burned out, I went into real estate first. That happened to be specialized. I specialized it for startup culture people. So they were people that, like I said, that were in their 22 to 30 years old. They want to live in a dormitory that has office space, that also has entertainment space. So I created a niche kind of real estate in Palo Alto. And then I just sublet it out on a bed by bed space area basis. And I think I turned like $7,000 per month worth of overhead into about $28,000 per month worth of income.
Sheesh.
And so I was doing well in just basically accommodation business, in addition to my medical career.
So you sort of saw like, all right, so this building's being underutilized, or something specifically about this field, and that gave you some sort of insight to be like, holy crap! I mean, these guys just want to bunk, basically. Yeah. They just want to bunk or something like that. And what we just chart. I mean, because I'm obviously I mean, this is not surprising, but a lot of real estate people want to get into crypto, and a lot of crypto people also want to get into real. So there's a lot of synergy actually there. So I'm super interested in this. And this was mostly in the Palo Alto area, or where?
Yeah, these places that are like, for an example, people come, especially from abroad, immigrant stories and things like that. If they have some technical skill set, like a lot of Ukrainians are super well trained in database and video editing and content creation, things like that. But they don't have a lot of capital or opportunity in their home country. Right. So I really would suit immigrant people that were coming to Silicon Valley with the dream and technical skills that they could support themselves, whether they were going to, again, if they're just looking to be employed at Apple or Amazon or something like that, or Google, that's the long-term housing. The reason why people stayed where I set up as an accelerator was basically, it was 17 bunk beds in 4 different big, massive bedrooms. And then it also had 16 or 17 office cubicle space inside of like this massive living room. And then it also had like a social area. And I set it up basically because It was 1 block away from Steve Jobs' house. It was 2 blocks away from the co-founder of Google. It was 5 blocks away from Stanford University and the Caltrain, the train system that goes up to San Francisco. So the location was perfect for a quote unquote accelerator. And then in order to book space there, you had to show me your pitch. What is your pitch? What are you trying to accomplish? Oh, I'm trying to launch a clothing brand. Okay. These are the tools you need. You need someone that does your graphic design. You need someone that does your back end of your databasing for your, I tried to be the good mayor of the property and help people find their co-founder, help people find their technology, like their sysadmin or something.
Kind of like a headhunter a little bit, right? You were kind of, you were just kind of like, yeah, I mean, this is so crazy too. You're saying that because that's exactly what Charlie used to do for a living as well. Yeah. He was literally a corporate recruiter, just getting people jobs and stuff like that. And then people always people don't forget that sort of thing when you get somebody into a position, especially when like they've never made that kind of money, and then you put them into a position where they're earning a lot of income from there. I mean, it changes people's lives. And
the favor, again, if you invest, I think Zig Ziglar says it very well. You can get anything that you want as long as you help enough other people get what they want, right? And so that doesn't mean that you're a simp or that you're buying, attention or something like that. I don't like that whole mechanism. I do like the win-win situations. So, like, I just got off a conference right before joining you today. Right. And the guy is a voice coach. He does celebrities in Hollywood, and people that want to be build their stage presence and their body language. Like, that's his consultancy. That's his business. He's an expert in the field. And he was asking me. I did invite him to an event that after Las Vegas is going to be in Cancun. And it is Robert Kiyosaki, George Gammon. It's the event that you probably already know about, McElroy. And it's about 30 of us as audience or members. And between us, we control somewhere around $4 billion worth of real estate.
Woo! Wait, talking shit, bro.
It's a good pool of people. It's a good network and things like that. But it's a small audience, 30 to 40 people. And I said something to him. I says, hey, I've got a spot. Usually it's the membership is $50,000 per year. So usually the membership is a couple, like a wealthy couple or something, and they're in real estate and they've got, $30-40 million worth of real estate, and they want to learn something from Ken or from others in the group in kind of this networking environment. And I said to him, I said, hey, I don't have a commitment for attending, as a guest. You can be my guest if you want to come. And I think that he was like, he definitely wanted to go. He's not really into real estate, but this is potential network growing, right? It benefits his network because a lot of people need stage presence. They need social calibration. They need to be able to read the audience in front of them, right? Whether it's an individual or a group. And he's very talented at it. He also was invited. You remember him. He was at some of our events. He came with Patrick. He had the dreadlocks. And he also came to live, I believe, with us.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'll promote him more later. But yeah, super guy, nice guy. And he's like, well, what do you want out of this, this invitation? I was like, nothing. Like, pay for your own plane flight. I'm not flying you or anything. Pay for your own plane flight and just come as a guest and help me network. Like, network for yourself, but network with me too. I think that's the strength that a lot of us need to develop. Like, a lot of us are kind of weak in that we sit behind Twitter, cell phone, and we sit behind, this anonymity thing. You're great about coaching other men, right? Other participants in crypto. And I want to develop that better, inside of our community.
Yeah. I mean, just recently, I've kind of discussed, this was a mistake. This was a mistake I was doing for a long time. And a lot of the people that are even watching were doing this mistake as well. Is that we kind of like shunned social media a bit. I shunned social media for the longest time. I was just so sick and tired of obviously there's people I went to high school with and everything like that I did care about and stuff, and a lot of them were, but there was just like I was just so over this fucking bullshit like popularity contest shit that was going on in high school that like I just stayed away from Instagram, Facebook. I stayed away from all of it basically. and just kind of focused on myself and worked. And it did give me a kind of a power in order to actually be able to like stay away from drama and allow me to grow. But there comes a point in time where it's permeated so deeply into society that, I mean, it's almost become the social credit system in a way where like we're only like 10 years. I mean, some people would say we're already there now, but realistically we're about 10 years away, just like crypto, in terms of like where a lot of the way you'll be able to get a job or get a business deal or anything is basically they're going to look at your social media presence and see how much you're worth. Like that might be the determining fact. I mean, in the dating space, I mean, like this is stuff that I talked to with Jay Waller. I talked with like fresh and fit and everything like that in private and stuff. And we're always talking about, I mean, they school me on a lot of things in terms of just like what's going on, especially in the really hot like dating markets and everything like that. Because I know that's all you. I mean, a lot of you guys care about is money, muscles, and hoes, right? Shout out to my 304s, but you know, money, muscles, frame, game, right? But it's this entire thing where, I mean, a lot of times the distinguishing factor between you getting picked over this other guy or you getting picked over this other business deal is how many subscribers and followers you have, or like, do you even have or is the presence you do have looking nice? And it doesn't look like some kind of just half-assed thing, like you're just throwing a random picture like this once in a while and that's it. It's looking very professional, or at the very least, like you have a lot. If you're going to be unprofessional, you have a lot more followers to kind of make up for that. So and it's like it's sad that it's going towards that way, but it's just natural human sort of thing anyway. Because basically, the internet's just an amplifier for human nature anyway. So the popular person in the tribe would have been that, you know, would have been basically popular. The whole tribe really would have known that person is kind of the whole shtick with all that. And what I've found in terms of like a huge opening for us is I was experimenting quite a while with, like, obviously YouTube works great. We're the biggest YouTube community in all of crypto, period. I don't think there's a single coin, not even BTC or Ethereum, that has more YouTubers, single dedicated YouTubers to Hex than they do versus their coins. So that's already massive already. So we're already a coin that punches so above its weight class. It's insane. Mm-hmm. On top of that, we are very well represented on Twitter. That is good. We regularly, Richard goes viral and is getting. We have so many people on Twitter now that, you know, if something's going on in crypto land, it's trending all over Twitter and around the world.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay, cool. Then I started experimenting. So I was like, let me look over here on TikTok. And TikTok is just right now, they're so anti-crypto right now that if you make any crypto content, it's like an upwards hill. I mean, it's really tough. I've had over 8 accounts taken down, and you know, I've had guys work on it, and nope, they keep getting taken down. And then I go let's go check out Instagram as being the next one up, right? And holy crap, it's goldmine over here.
Yeah.
Whoa. I mean, personally, I mean, just off of like just being able to get people into the course or just being able to talk to people, help people with consultations. It's been like, I was shocked when I had like 500. I started maybe about maybe 5 weeks ago, basically. And during the course sales, I was doing all that stuff. How many people I was helped onboard into crypto just off of that, and this wasn't with an account with 500 people. Now it's grown into maybe like 2,000 people, and I'm like, whoa, wow, this is pretty crazy. So the people, the follow, if you're especially very active on, the followers you end up getting are extremely active on Instagram. Right. So this is a huge vertical that we're missing right now. That, you know, right now the Hexicans, anyone in crypto should be starting on Instagram and focusing very hard on Instagram right now, because this is where we can gain another vertical to get really powerful. Because if you look at the comparison, right, you look at maybe Richard Hart as an example. Richard Hart on Twitter has, you know, 250,000 subscribers or 250,000 followers. Cool. On Instagram, 57,000.
Yeah.
He is verified, which is nice, but he doesn't have a very large amount of followers. He should be at that 250,000 plus. And the most vainest place on, I've just discovered this. I mean, obviously I'm a little late to the party. The vainest place in all the internet is Instagram. It is the vainest, like, high schoolish place in the world. Even, like, I would say even damn near almost more than YouTube. But if you're famous on Instagram or you're big on Instagram, there's just certain people, like, even if you're big on YouTube, you don't really get in contact with people like you can. Like, every place has like their vertical where you can really contact people, and then Instagram is one place where we can start getting contacts, deals, as well as interviews for Richard or yourself or like the whole Mexican community. That's going to take us to like the next level that I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, Richard only started Instagram maybe in the past year. He barely started it. He wasn't on there very much. It was Telegram as an origin story, Twitter for an origin story, really of Hex, as far as the written context, and then YouTube and so forth. A picture is 1,000 words. I mean, within, we judge things very quickly. You were saying something even earlier about like our tribal nature as human beings. If you're in the jungle and you see someone that has war paint and their outfit looks different than yours, you might think, hey, that guy is kind of dangerous. Like, watch out for that guy. Right.
Don't judge a book by its cover, but we all do it.
I mean, it's part of our instinct. Yeah.
I mean, you're an asshole if you spent a year with the guy and you actually know him and you're still treating him like an animal, right? But
it's social signaling. We do social signaling all the time. We're always doing it. And when we're in writing, it's harder. It is harder. So the image-driven world of Instagram, and again, if you have like 20-second, 30-second little videos and you don't bore the ADD, then it's worth it, because people scroll through the shorts, the stories, the reels, all that kind of stuff. That's what people are looking for when I turn on Instagram in the morning, or whenever I first scroll through. That's what I scroll and I say, oh, what's happening in my area, or what's happening in my hashtag or something like that. And I think we should be better about that too. You're right.
Oh, definitely, man. And so yeah, go follow me at Dollar Cost Crypto on Instagram. It's in the bio and stuff. And make sure you're not following a fake Dollar Cost Crypto. I think right now my account's only following 94 people. That's how you can tell which one I am. At some point, hopefully I'll get verified. And I'm growing I'm growing as fast as I can and stuff. But I usually post I post like daily content on there every single day, as well as a bunch of stories and me doing random stuff, me smoking cigars with Jay Waller, hanging out with Richard, Jim. And you're gonna see, if you want to see a lot of more behind the scenes sort of stuff, everything, just follow me on Instagram, because I'll be definitely photo bombing even in Vegas. A lot of cool stuff. We're gonna do some cool stuff there, as well as obviously, for any of you guys, go in the description box and stuff. You can sign up to the Citadel. It's $100 a month. It's a great sort of way to get closer to me and Charlie in terms of being able to ask us questions in private. And last night we had our first ever inaugural event for the Citadel. Blessed be thy bags, for they shall pump. But the Citadel, we had I think we had almost like at one point 51 people, and then we literally answered questions for damn near 2.5 hours for everybody, and then we left it open for everyone to talk and stuff like that. And it was a great event. We told people sort of future plans we had that we haven't told anybody else, and we're planning at some point, maybe next week, to have another one of those as well. So it'll be one place where we're going to be able to coordinate a meetup at some point here in Vegas, probably next week once Pulsecon started. I'm going to try to do like a meet and greet with everybody somewhere. I'll talk to. I might drag Funny Jim out there too. We'll see who we drag out there to the meet and greet. But but there's always got to be precautions. We got to make sure it's a safe place for people to meet as well. So
it's a big thing. Again, you step up to the stage and you become public. There's been a fear factor for many inside of crypto, and again, you need to weigh your own risk of your own profile out there, right, so to speak. So that's why, like Gary, I can't stand on stage with a Peter Schiff, and I've been on stage with Peter Schiff, but it was Gary Woods. It wasn't Funding Jim, right? Or you can't be on stage with people that are by name, even Richard Hart or George Gammon or Robert Kiyosaki or anybody that sells a book. They all have their name out there, right? Because it represents their brand. So that's why it's important, man. The social networking thing matters.
Yeah, definitely. And thank you so much for the comments about the Instagram picture I have. It's basically Napoleon Bonaparte standing when he was King Napoleon. And basically, I just took my face, put it on Napoleon's face, and then put the outline of a moon in the back of it. So, because we're moon boys. But but definitely there's you got to put the image you want out there, and don't be shocked. I mean, if you're always posting, it's sort of like a girl who always posted like pictures of her ass, and it's like, why don't guys take me seriously? I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, if you're like if you're a football player and all you post is football things, obviously, but if that's fine as your thing. But if you're complaining about why is nobody taking me seriously as an entrepreneur or whatever you're trying to do, well, you're all you're showing is basically that side of yourself. So it is the whole thing where like you do have to open up, or you have to be. I mean, like you're doing real estate, but like I'm a real estate agent, and all you do is post yourself going out drinking. You know, like, are you a realist? I mean, it's that sort of thing. So you do have to show the other side, but at the same time, too, it's a beautiful thing to show like this is who I am, and then you can actually attract like-minded people as well. Shout out to my boy Kareem, Party Boy Supreme. But there is actually this whole thing. I mean, there is a vertical. There is people like we're such a small sort of metaverse, like tiny little thing. I mean, I'll probably go on a limb here and say probably 0.5% of the population. 0.5% of the population is probably in crypto, and it's really probably 0.1% that are hyper. About 10 million people that we were talking about, and it's probably a larger 50 million people that are overall in crypto. I would say that just have a little Bitcoin and are like actively dollar cost averaging into crypto. But if that's the case when it comes to the crypto space and stuff like that, we need now this isn't politically correct, but fuck it, I'm gonna say it. Everybody, now you can just be a special person and you can blow up, and then you are so big that everyone follows you anyway. But what ends up happening is that people sometimes want to be convinced by someone that looks like them,
yeah,
or has the same interests as them. So they're like just to say as an example, right? You have like Superman, right? People like, oh, I like Superman, but I want to file Black Superman or Asian Superman or Mexican Superman or white Superman, whatever the hell it is. But like you can be that sort of person. Like it's a sort of thing where you can be this famous person, famous Mexican, and you can fill that niche. It's like I would really love to learn about this stuff. Well, there's a niche for it and stuff, so you can attract people like you, and then from there, of course, you can't just lean on that. You have to keep expanding and actually provide value outside of that. But it's that sort of thing where you're on social media that you will attract people that are attracted to you in terms of like-mindedness, how they look like you, or just how they think like you. And that is powerful because not every person like me, there's no way I can attract every single person. Neither can Funny Jim. Neither can anybody here. Not even Richard Hart. He probably turns people away. But me and Jim right here have been able to get people that didn't like Richard to get into Hex or to get into crypto because of how it acts, basically.
I mean, again, it's tone, tempo. It's your stage presence. It's your image. It's our human nature to stereotype people after they say 100 words. You're like, okay, this person's dumb. This person's smart. This person's, they're using vocabulary I'm not familiar with. They're snotty. They're using vocabulary I am very familiar with and slang. So they're from my upbringing. They're familiar. They're part of, they're my boy or whatever it is, right? So we say things within 100 words. You're making an impression. Your impression. And I don't want people to become lemmings and cookie cutter copies of each other.
Right.
I want people to represent their truth, who they are, what they're about, right? If a person, like you said, is constantly, I don't know, I don't want to rail too much, but like you said, if it's constantly Instagram images of only drinking like crazy or only smoking marijuana all day or whatever, there's nothing wrong with that. You're going to speak to your audience that also says there's nothing wrong with that. That's part of my daily routine, right? Yeah. But if you're talking financial products, if you're talking long game planning, like what is your future? Like the product of Hex really compels people to think about. Like, What is the product of Hex? Oh, it's a staking tool. What does the staking reward you? It rewards you inflation. You don't have to buy a Bitcoin miner or pay electrical bills to mine this cryptocurrency effectively through inflation award. So if you're talking about a long game narrative, people that also think that way, they're going to look for certain stereotypes of how you present yourself, what kind of language you're using, what kind of stage presence or a network that you're part of. If you're part of a network where people will say, I don't know you, but I know this guy, and this guy is your friend, right? This guy has paid some form of edification or some form of hey, he's cool, right? Or whatever kind of testament. Then you're going to okay, now I need to listen to this guy,
Right. That's right. I got very distracted by the chat.
What are they talking about, man? I haven't even looked at it.
Oh my god, what's wrong with being 5'5"? I'm watching from start to finish. I'm like, no, nothing, nothing, sir.
5'5". Tom Cruise is like 5'7", so it's not that far off that.
Oh no, definitely not, definitely not.
Yeah.
But it's more like every time like they tell me I'm 5'5", it's like, bro, when you said you're Mexican, I thought you were 5'5". So I was like, bro, it's like.
And that's a stereotype, right? That's racial profiling. I don't know what they were doing, man, but everybody that meets you in person, like, holy shit, this is a big dude.
And they're like, wow, I thought all Mexicans were short. I was like, bro, I'm whiter than you, dude.
Yeah.
But hilarious anyway. Yeah, may God bless you with 7 inches, sir, and everything. What is that? The 3 6s, 6-figure income, 6 foot height, and 6 inch.
Oh, is that what it is? Oh,
yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that was the number. Okay.
Yeah, it was the minimum numbers and stuff in the delusional hot girl matrix, or they.
Is that when Rolo does his delusion calculator and he's
yeah. How many cat bags? How many cat bags? Yeah, Fresh and Fit do it all the time as well. Like where you pretty much like, what kind of man would you like? Well. Do you like him to be in shape or out of or a little chubby? I like to be in shape. Okay, cool. How tall would he's got to be 6 foot? Okay, cool. What race? I would like him to be Asian. Okay, and then he's like, well, sir, well, ma'am, this person exists in this tiny of the percentage of the population. Yeah. Crazy, and then that's the crazy one too, because sometimes they choose kind of like these crazy height standards and stuff. I think you should. I mean, obviously, this whole like you should like a person for the personality. Well, I guess, of course, right? But like, they also have to be satisfactory towards what you like in life as well and stuff. Like, it's insane,
Well, our selection has been, women have been able to choose since we've gone past the caveman days where it was just like, you have no choice. Now you have choice. Women have choice for sure. They have choice. They always have choice.
Yeah, it's detrimental because I was going
to say, let me finish this.
Okay, yeah, you finish.
So men used to be the only ones that could ride horses, and men used to wear boots all the time so that their foot would fit in the stirrup. So men were always presented taller, like they were always taller, even if they were 5'5", they presented as 5'8" or 5'9" or whatever, right? And women would select, a partner, someone to have kids with, or whatever it is, based on height often, because there's a throwback in our 100,000 year ago, the tough guy was the one that led the tribe, the big guy. And so then there was a cultural shift where men didn't wear heels, which again, cowboy boots are heels. They're heels.
How dare you, Funny Jim, say that, sir?
They are heels because it's giving 2 or 3 inches of height lift, right? And then and women were flat foot, and then later women were heeled. And when they're heeled and men are flat foot, then they're looking for taller guys. So I have some antique beds that are from the 1800s and some of my Airbnbs, and brass bed. It's kind of like a retro feel to it or whatever. And mattresses will not fit beds from the 1800s that you buy at the store because the average height was shorter. Like bed mattresses now are longer because we are longer. We are taller.
Right.
And it goes to part of the selection process, hundreds of years, several generations, women tend to choose someone that's their height or taller and significantly taller, 4 to 5 inches taller. Oh, yeah. So since now they wear heels and we don't, you can always battle that short man syndrome by wearing high heels. Just go out to the club in your Prada boots.
Well, I'm always wearing Christian Louis Vuittons. I mean, that's all I'm saying, right?
A little bit of lift, hardly any lift.
A little bit. Actually, I'd be surprised. I'd be kind of pissed off sometimes I'm wearing those, and I'm like, it's like a 1 inch lift. That's it. I was like, what the hell? No, but I know for a fact some guys that always go out and they're wearing cowboy boots for that reason alone.
Yep.
To give them that, because I didn't know. I used to. This was me when I was younger and stuff. I used to go out. I used to go out to either not a rave, but what do you call it? Kind of nightclubs and stuff back in San Francisco and stuff. And I was just wearing regular shoes, very flat-footed shoes and stuff. And then I was just like, wow, everyone's so tall and stuff. They're pretty tall. And then one day I noticed that everyone was wearing these ridiculous shoes and stuff. And I was like, wow, I have been got. and stuff. So I just like, all right, I'm put some boots on and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, look at these short fucks, get out of my way. But yeah, it's pretty, yeah, and it's kind of crazy. I mean, it's kind of crazy and stuff too. I mean, can you imagine how much of an advantage it would have been back in the? I mean, it would have been freakish as well, but like, imagine being 6'7", 6'8" back in the day. Whoa, giant. Yeah.
So, what do you want to get out of this event? I think you're going to be on stage. You're going to be talking. You want to talk a little bit about?
Yeah. So I'll be at Pulsecon. It's going to be at the Las Vegas Convention Center, and basically, I'm going to be on a panel. I'm going to be on 1 or 2 panels and stuff, and then right now I'm going to be talking to Team Money and stuff, and probably being on another panel as well. It did give me opportunity to speak, possibly. So I'm still thinking about whether I'm going to speak on stage like a full 15-minute speech and everything like that, but. We'll definitely just have to see what they have planned up in terms of lineup and everything like that. They're pretty busy right now, but what I'm going to get out of it is like I want to meet anyone from the Hex community, anyone there, and as well as just onboard. Hopefully, my speech can onboard people into the ecosystem and just kind of mingle out there and see who's there and see if we can make connections and streams and videos and stuff and just kind of keep propelling this forward.
Right. Do you see what I'm curious of your like framework between you and Charlie?
Yeah.
When people are interested and they come to you curious about crypto because they heard about it, they're like, I heard about it. What's your like 2-minute pitch about why people should participate? Like some people early on said, I'm anti-government. I want to be able to transact directly with my peer-to-peer exchanging. Others say, no, this is the best performing asset class.
Right.
This is the best products in that asset class. Like, how do you set up expectation for your students about why they're participating in crypto?
Right. So I know my audience, right? So it's like I know my audience. I know the type of people I talk to. I'm deep in the red pill space, the manosphere, the manosphere pause, and then that kind of space. So I'm usually talking to people who are still working, as well as like I know my audience, right? They're still working, or they're pretty high level, like blue collar business owners or something, or just business owners in general. And the way, basically it's through the greed aspect a little bit, but more of like so for the last 2 years, inflation's been creeping up. We've always been talking about that they're printing dollars. It's now gotten into the lexicon or the mental model of everyone we talk to around the world now that like, holy crap, this year in 2022, the inflation thing got real for people. I'm talking about really real. We had a CPI number peak of like what 9.1%. 9.1% CPI, which means that it's probably like 20% to 18% real inflation in the economy. So we're not even through the year yet, and we're like, you've lost about 20% of your value of your capital, even if and that's what stuff they're tracking that's kind of inflation hedged a little bit, that they put money into to make sure that it doesn't go bananas. Anything you really want, Rolexes, houses, businesses, cryptocurrencies and stuff, obviously they've gone down, which is nice, but these assets are going crazy. Gasoline's doubled in most places for the most part and stuff like that. So it's like things in food as well is probably up 30% on average. I know for a fact restaurants, if you go to the restaurants and movie theaters have just significantly gone up. Like bills, like I remember what restaurant? I can't remember the name of the restaurant, but like a restaurant that I always like going to and stuff. I remember 2 years ago, if I took me and a girl out or something like out there, it would be, I don't know, $60, $70. The bill is probably like 110, 105 now and stuff like that. So yeah, it's, obviously we've done.
I know that there's a lot of tax in California, but there was a time where it was $7. It crossed over $7.
Yeah. The tax over here is pretty insane. It's like, it's damn near like, I think it's almost 9%. It's almost 9% sales tax and stuff. But things are just getting more and more expensive. But that is across the board. So obviously, if you go to, because I'm always in Las Vegas or I'm always in Miami and stuff like that, the prices are just getting crazy everywhere and stuff. They're cheaper. Obviously, they're cheaper in Vegas and in Miami. But then what ends up happening is that like they're also getting inflation too, and the prices are going up as well. So it's just that sort of thing where like it depending on what luxuries or what things that you're doing, like there's something called like there's like an independent inflation index where depending on your lifestyle you have a very different inflation rate compared to everybody else. But if you're trying to live the socialite life, or you're sending up the citadel and you're growing, like the things that you truly want are the things that a lot of people also want. So then they go up in price. I mean, look at like even in club. I mean, clubs obviously don't go clubbing and shit. Like I can go into huge. Like I was studying. Like I was just almost writing notes because like I was talking to Fresh and shit. Fresh would just put me on so much game of how nightclubs work in Miami and stuff, and how it really works out now. And basically, like nightclub game, if you're trying to pick up a girl in nightclub and stuff like that, I mean, basically you have to have a table. It's because they made the clubs have now completely been reformulated, where it's like very rare when you go to a club where it's just a bar and an open space with a dance floor, right?
Yeah.
It's like
monetizing that audience, man. They're monetizing it, running that club. Oh my god.
Hyper monetizing the audience. It's crazy. I mean, I've been to clubs. I said this on Fresh and Fit, and people were looking like, what is he? I saw the comments. They're like, what is Miguel talking about? No. You can tell like these people who are in the respectfully hadn't been to some of these clubs and stuff, where you go to something like a Mr. Jones, or you go to like a Live or something like that. Or Live is not as bad, but like there's a bunch of clubs out there, right? That you can go to, or Vendome, where it's like these table sections. So it's like 6 tables, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you have 2 other ones. So there's 8 or 9 tables total, and then a bar, a very small area, and then it's like a corridor. So basically, you're going down the corridor. It's like, imagine like you're going down a river, but it's only as wide as maybe like your hands going like this. So basically, any girl that you would try to get is getting picked off and then put into the sections. So it's like if you're just like some guy just like walking in the club trying to pick up some chick, be like, "Hey, what's up, baby?" And you're walking down the line, like all the chum or all the girls are just like out of your way because if you don't know nobody. So it's like this whole thing where like just over that you have to be in the section. If you're not in a section, you're in a huge disadvantage. Even if you have looks or game or anything, like the clubs are all set up essentially to like look at the person ordering bottles and sparklers, like, wow, that guy's pretty cool, or like the guy holding the huge bottle of like Grey Goose is like, yeah, you want a shot? Yeah, let's hang out. And then they also have security, so they put an extra degree of separation from you. So it's like even if you were the better catch, you ain't getting nowhere near the ladies. So that's just one little thing that's kind of changed, right? So because of these kind of economic pressures, right? I mean, you want the attention of females. I'm just talking about the guy's perspective here. Obviously, for females, like it's also the lifestyles have also grown up insanely and stuff because you have to put yourselves into these positions, and you also are having this kind of horrible inflation where like you're putting yourself into very compromising positions as well as a female. In order, because there's inflation, but in one monetarily for the men, and one kind of almost like a soul inflate, or like sort of like a morality inflation, where like you have to like be more hoish in order to compete against other females, because they've essentially kind of like they've gone for that sort of stuff. And everything like that. And I won't be talking because I don't club that much and stuff. I just when I go out to Miami or something, or like I get invited, sure. But like, so I'm not falling for it. But I'm like, me as a guy who always thinks about money and like people and like I was in the club, not even I was just looking at the economics of it. Like I was just in there like, wow, okay. So if I own this place, like what's the rub here? How are people how are people like making the money out here, or like how are the relationships happening? I was just talking to Fresh all the time. Like, Fresh, what about this? He's like, well, bro, this and this. I was like, God, because Fresh is a genius. Fresh is like people.
I heard he's a club guy that he really knows the industry, and he knows the environment, and he's the club guy, right? He's the power networker, really, out of the two, right?
Yeah, the dude, like Fresh is a genius when it comes to like, I mean, he is such a good connector of people. Like, my God, his personal skills are like insane. Yeah. He doesn't drink in the clubs. He goes out to the clubs to meet influential people. These influential people, he makes friends with them. He invites them out when he goes out, and then from there, he's like, "Hey, we do a big show. Wow, you have a big show? Yeah, I'll come on there."
Yeah.
Bam.
I saw his post. I think his other YouTube channel for him specifically. I think they did like a car video shoot, and then he went to a barber or something, and then he took you and Richard out nightclub or whatever, and it was shot inside of his Rolls Royce or something, right?
Yeah, we were in his me, Richard, what's it called, Fresh, and then I think Fresh's girl he had at the time or something like that. Yeah, we were in his
video. Yeah.
Yeah, we're in the Rolls Royce and stuff with the Starlight roof and stuff. And then that's actually the story where I said earlier about with Richard that we had saw a really terrible car crash. I mean, so Richard just on this tirade of being like, I don't like it in Miami. I don't like it in Florida. Yeah, like this complaint. I mean, okay.
It's funny because I was voice messaging with him like that day or whatever, the day after. And I says, you're making me nervous. I think we want to send you back to the castle. He's like, yeah, I want to go back to the castle, bro. I just want to go back to the castle. Please send me back to the castle.
I mean, like, I love Richard, but man, he was complaining that trip.
If there's no female around, again, I know you were saying about Richard being socially calibrated and things like that.
Yeah,
and it is to his audience. If he knows the prep and he knows the game, he definitely speaks to the audience he's in front of. But outside of that, especially when it's familiar maybe with you and me,
yeah,
I thought he complained a ton. I was like, man, until there's a female around. If there's a female around, his energy changes.
He goes like action mode. He was like, yeah, this goddamn man, fucking Florida sucks, man. This place is shit, bro. Like the roads aren't being done. Like, it's like there's an accident, you can get robbed and stuff. Oh, hey, Hoochie. Hey, what's going on? He just goes into action mode right away.
The charm comes out. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so just I guess I don't even know how we got into clubs somehow, but like
networking. Again, the power of networking is our best skill set we can develop. If you learn as a young person, you learn 22, 25 years old, and you learn your own self-worth, your own self-confidence. Doesn't mean you have to be a douche, you don't have to be a dick, you don't have to be any of these horrible things about personality types, but you have your own confidence, your own frame. Right. And then you are able to engage with people and be rejected. You will learn, man. I mean, networking is the most powerful skill I think any of us can have. It's part of our social, talent that you develop as a business person, especially.
Right. So Azaro had a really great question right here that I want to answer because this is how you can put yourself into position. So it's like, okay, dollar cost crypto. I'm guessing Fresh and Fit. How did Fresh and Fit hear about you? What did it take to get on Fresh and Fit, and what can Hexicans do to get similar results? So that was a very great question. So I'll answer that. So charisma, yes, of course. I'm Rico Suave over here. No, like legitimately, no, not sure. No. So in terms of how we got with Fresh and Fit, it's because part of it was like if I'm being truthful, is that me and Charlie recognized that this red pill space was just a space that we were already interested in. So it wasn't at the time. It was not very popular. It was very unpopular, super unpopular. Like because you're obviously you're just basically showing guys the truth about women and this and dating and stuff. So it's just not a popular space at the time. Right now it's growing. Like right now it's starting to get kind of hot and stuff, but basically what happened is like we were just always being helpful. So we always were just crypto guys that were like red pilled, right? And we through connection we would never turn anyone away. If anyone from the red pill was like, hey, I would like to learn a little bit about finance or money, sure, so let's help. So Charlie helped out Myron way before Fresh and Fit was even created. So it was just from us being like always open to like, of course, I'll help you out. You're helping me out for free, charging peanuts at the time. I think at the time, like Charlie was charging $75 a consultation. And nowadays, like he's charging over $1,000 and good luck trying to book him. It's that sort of thing. And then we helped a lot of people on early on when their channels were nothing before they even had channels. And it was dollar in a dream with a lot of guys. But the thing was I'll help out anybody who needs my help. And not because like, oh, one day I hope they're going to grow big and I'll be powerful or I'll be able to go on a show. No, it's just more because that's just the right thing to do. And that's what I like to do. Right. Yeah. And help them out and stuff like that. And then from there, once we do shows and stuff, just keep the relationship going. Right. So we helped them from the beginning. We made Myron quite a bit in crypto as well as Fresh and stuff. Fresh is a Hexican. They all have Hex and stuff. And, just always being helpful to all the guys. Myself, like just recently, like I flew out to I flew out to Reno to Tahoe and stuff to hang out with Rolo and Jay Waller and stuff, and I pretty much helped Jay Waller and the entire team there get into crypto. Yep. Really get into crypto, do hex stakes, and I'm not going to say everything that happened there, but like a lot of stuff happened, and just me being able to provide value to them. and help them out and kind of give them like what's the game plan and sit them down and stuff like that. But it took years and years and years of kind of building up those relationships and kind of growing along with them and stuff like that. So it's easier if there's a certain part of YouTube that you really like, right? You got to be interested in it. You can't just be like, you're just like, I'm the dork guy. Like if you like cars, right, and you're a car guy, well, you got to kind of find out. It's like, hey, look, I'm a cryptocurrency investor and stuff like that. But like, I've used my crypto gains to go get into cars or buy superchargers. Whoa, dude, that's crazy. He's like, how much? It's like, honestly, this car, like one good thing, like let's just say as an example, right? I put $1,000 into Hex back in the day, and so this car, this $150,000 car right here is really it cost me $1,000 as a video. You put that as a video. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Wait, what are you talking about, bro? It's like, yeah, dude. Like seriously, this car, it was $1,000. That's it. What do you mean? He's like, well, I put $1,000 into this cryptocurrency back in the day and staked it out. It came out. I took profits on it, and then I bought this car, and then I took the leftover and staked it out. Holy shit!
Yeah, Herlarski was just saying something about that like 2 days ago, and it was like his Touareg that he got. I think he bought it, and he got some kind of tour along with it in Europe, and then shipped it to where he's at. I think it was $90-something thousand, but it came from a $400 stake. Right. So yeah. So again, the when you put it in real terms, you're like, what? And then you do the math to figure out how many hours would you have worked doing your day job to earn $90,000 after taxes. Right. You're like, holy shit! Like this is a time multiplier when you choose the product that has a product market fit.
Yeah. And this is just natural for me to like so there is a bit of like the natural stuff, but you can learn like a lot of marketing or a lot of like advertising or sort of it all can be learned from books and things like that, right? Like that's genius marketing though, right? For YouTube and stuff. But like there's a time and place where I remember I'm probably gonna do a video about this where I used to have like a crypto strategy where I would see how much an item would cost. I was like, oh wow, look, I want to get this purse for like a girl or that I like, or I don't know, I'm saying crazy shit right now. Or like I want to get myself this vacation. I want to get this car, and so you can just backwards engineer. Okay, cool. So I could probably take 1/10 of the cost of that vehicle, that vacation or whatever, put it into crypto, and then over time I eventually buy it for that price. So it's like cool. So I'll put $5,000 down on this. And then over time, that $5,000 would equal up a down payment for a house, or get me a crazy vehicle, or whatever kind of goal that you end up having with that capital. But putting those kind of things in your brain, like I can do this and this. So it's kind of funny. Like I used to fuck around with people all the time. It's like, oh, this watch right here. Oh yeah, this watch. Yeah, it cost me like probably $25. $20. $20? Get the fuck you, bro. What are you talking about? Yeah, this is the $20 watch, dude. What do you mean? What do you mean $20? Yeah, it's just I put it at $20 into crypto.
It's funny. It's funny because Richard gets so much hate because of the Hex product or whatever he says that triggers people. But he's been in Bitcoin since 2011.
Right.
Famously 50 cents, 50 blocks at a time, and all this other kind of narrative. And you got to look at that scale. If you're saying that you pay 50 cents for something, or you mined it for free, with a GPU effectively. And he doesn't tend to sell his crypto. Like he tends to hold on to his crypto for fucking ever, right? And you do the math of it. You're like, yeah, this most expensive Rolex that exists, this was $4. like $1.4 million Rolex, the most expensive Rolex has ever sold. It's $4. Like you do the math, man.
Yeah. It's like this shirt right here, 80 cents. $700 Versace shirt right here, 80 cents. It's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, obviously you don't want to do too, but then from there, like it's funny. You can do like there's sort of like showing like being funny and then like marketing, then actually just doing that is the 100% your strategy to push out, right? So like if I were to continually keep doing that, I would be outrage marketing versus like. So it's like you have to pick what you're comfortable with, because it's like you want to be consistent with it and stuff like that. Another sort of tip I can give people in terms of like, so you help people, cool. But so there's this old adage, right? Like you can take a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, right? So you can help people, you get them into crypto, but if they're people, they're like, if you notice somebody that like they're super motivated, then they have talent. Now I don't know if I can show people this part in terms of my what I do, because this is something that I'm very like I've taught myself over the years. So I have a PhD in YouTube research, right? So what I mean by that is like I've always been able, since like the minute I've been able to tell who's going to get popular on YouTube.
Yeah,
always like. All the people that I listen to, like I watched Joe Rogan probably when he had 6,000, 8,000 subs and stuff like that. I mean, I'm talking about like early on when he was with Red Band in the early episodes. Watched him from the jump. A lot of people did as well. I caught Valuetainment at the beginning. I caught basically every major fitness YouTuber that was going to pop off from the beginning. I caught the what's called the Financial Education Channel, Stephen Graham, the guys from the Ice Coffee Hour and stuff. Like basically everybody, the who's who of in multiple sets. So it wasn't just like I did it in the fitness space. I did it in the fitness space. I did it in the stock YouTube space. I did it in the crypto space. I did it in this space. I kept doing it to the point where like, I was like, all the people that I'm following, I was like, wow, I might actually be decent at this. And then I tried it in crypto and I hit the same thing. And then I was like, holy crap. Like I actually had this whole moment. Is like, am I just getting lucky? Is it just luck right here? And then I backwards engineered. If I went full maxi, like I'm a Dogecoin only guy. So I backwards engineered and said, okay, what coins was I interested at the time? Let's just say if I went all in on that coin during that time, how well would I be doing financially? There wasn't a single time I wasn't a multimillionaire.
Right.
That's crazy to say that. Like if I was all in on Ethereum, I bought if I was only buying Ethereum at $80, which I was.
Yep.
And all my wealth was just.
I bought it. You know, I pivoted out of Bitcoin. First, I did the free claim of Bitcoin for a hex. I bought Bitcoin even to do the hex free claim. And then like Ethereum, that $80 or $100, whatever it was when the AA was going on. And, you know, the mechanism, it makes sense. Like financial speculation, things like that, it makes sense. If you're at the beginning-ish of any project, it's hard not to do well, man. It's just hard. It's really hard. It's like saying I bought 7 .coms during the .com bubble, and you're like, and why are you broke? Like, you know,
right,
broke, man. How did you miss the .com bubble? How did you miss it?
Yeah, how do you not have some of that? And obviously, there's some bad stuff can happen and stuff, but it's this whole thing. Like we always, it takes 2 cycles to really make money in crypto. Yeah, it really does. Like I got in 2016, made some money, made some mistakes. Was able to recalibrate it all back down, and then just killed it this last cycle. Yep. And I'm going to go kill it again.
Yeah.
Like, and it's that sort of thing. So like that's what I've been good at. Is just I've told Charlie in private a lot of times, like, oh, I would be a really good A&R or like a talent acquisitions guy. So I could tell like I think this lady's a great singer and stuff. I think she has the talent. She has it. I think she'd be great. We should sign her. Or like this guy's a great rapper. Or like this guy can make good music. Or this is a good producer. Like I've been a good like spot of talent and stuff. Yeah. That's what and then I've used that ability. And then I come to find out. So of course I don't know about all this. Come to find out, basically what I'm really good at is being a VC.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
For it. Yeah.
Yeah. And you have that talent too, Jim, because you saw but you came from a completely different angle. And that's the beautiful thing about this whole space is you can come from different walks of life, different parts of the world. It doesn't, and then have completely different experiences. Because like I came from like I mean, obviously most people in America come from immigrant families, but like immigrant family, oldest son, you know, just did high school, blue collar business owner, and now one of the crypto guys out here. Right. And the same thing for you. You came from a complete different way, military and all. I mean, I'm not going to say your whole background and stuff, but, all that stuff. And then came into crypto. And then there's also a thing, too, where people are like, there's this whole like ageism, like there's like ageism and reverse ageism where like, what the hell? Like people who are getting into crypto, like people who are getting into crypto. At 40
that guy's too old.
Yeah, that guy's too old. What the fuck is he? But Jim has made more money than 99% of you fuckers. Like, say that's but of course Jim is a special person too as well. Like we all are our special snowflakes in a way. But I mean, how are you kind of like, how do you think like what have you felt like was your kind of competitive edge a little bit?
Adaptability. Like if you can't answer to yourself, give me $5, drop me off anywhere in the world, and I can make it back to where I started. If you can't do that as a guy, like, I don't think you should do criminal stuff to do it, but like socially you can navigate, socially you can, value add. It's kind of like this, what is this? There's this movie, Into the Wild. And a guy basically goes for a couple of years to try to head off to Alaska and live in the wild of Alaska or something like that. Like the adaptability factor matters. There's so many of us that are afraid to engage something because we're afraid of rejection, afraid of loss or setback or whatever it may be. And that's why ageism, if you say ageism, not that that's a bad thing, but basically the stereotype is that someone in their 40s and 50s or 60s probably doesn't care about crypto because they've already set their investment plan. They're already somewhere further along, and they're not going to be hyper speculative. That's not true. There's personality types, and it's kind of like when you get institutionalized. Like you've been in academics all your life and you think that's all there is. You've been in jail all your life, you think that's all there is. You've been a farmer and all of your family have only been farmers, you think that's all there is. You've been in Wall Street and you think that's all there is. Like, adaptability means being able to look into other environments and thrive and figure out how to thrive. I think that's very important. I think that's a better skill to develop than your, again, physical, being able to lift more, punch better, things like that. That's all fine. But like your mental calibration to other people, other audiences, being able to adapt, communicate well, things like that. I think that's the best skill you can develop.
So sort of what you're saying is like having brain elasticity in a way, where
Yes.
like a consistent learner and stuff like that, or never losing that spark to learn and stuff like that. And I tell guys all the time, like my favorite subject in school was history.
Yeah.
And then money, of course, but history, and I've never lost that sort of touch and stuff. But it's totally okay to like they tell you all the time, like, oh, I binge watch, like, that whole thing where people are like, you like as an audience, right? Everybody here has binge watched some show. Like I watched the entire in 2 days. I watched the entire season of Breaking Bad in 2 days straight. That kind of crazy sort of thing. Or like, oh, I watched every season. I mean, every single episode of Game of Thrones. I watched every single. That binge watching ability, is actually a superpower. No, I'm serious. It's basically what it's shown is basically you have hyper attentive abilities. You can hyper concentrate into something. It's just you have to be interested into it.
Yeah. Again, we do the things we're interested to do, and it's the same thing as like the story of the school buses coming around. Mom tries to wake you up. You're like, oh, I don't want to go. I'm sleepy or whatever it is, and then Saturday morning, you're waking up 2 hours before you normally would have because you got things you want to do, not things you have to do or whatever it is. So it's a fine. And again, developing a new skill set has value beyond just the skill set. The process of learning something has something to add. Like if you're interested in, even in the margins, interested in music, you should learn an instrument.
Yeah.
Even in the margins, you're interested in another language. You should pick up, some vocabulary in another language. Like it will add to your confidence that says, I can learn something new. Like just the effort to accomplish, a minor goal can get you closer to a major goal.
Because in a way, you're really training a specific part of your mind that's not being stretched out, and on top of that, it activates so many things in your brain. It's like learning another language because you are learning another language and memory and things like that. It's so insane. And like I mean, actually, to tell you the truth, I can still play the violin even now.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I can still. I played the violin. Yeah, I was like first or second chair in my orchestra and stuff for a while. Total dork. Yeah.
It's a testament to Richard. Richard has the capacity of a supercomputer. I think he's somewhere on the autism scale, and I mean that politely and as great as it can be, because autistics are able to hyper focus. They can hyper focus. Like when he enjoys reading and he reads, Hacker News or whatever it is for years on end, when he goes through and he had gone through his addiction for years, to figure out game theory about how to have things ready for when he needed them in the game. That kind of stuff is kind of a trait of hyper focus.
Right.
And even when he game theories out, the design of a cryptocurrency or what to anticipate that, maybe other founders didn't in their particular project that he's building upon, right?
Right.
It is a skill set. But here's the thing is, Richard was born a blank slate. Richard, as a 12-year-old, only knew what Richard as a 12-year-old knew, and he learned everything else after. So you always should be learning. I think Richard still at this day, is constantly in investigating and curious. And how do I do this? How do I make this thing in my repertoire better? Like my ability to help other people really comes to his skill set of being curious and hyper focused.
Yeah. It's quite a lot of stuff. I mean, like, and also this is something they teach you in the red pill and stuff, and also we're like picking up girls and stuff like that. I mean, like, it's so many skills, so many unrelated skills are extremely useful. Like, to become an interesting person, like I have a lot of guys that are like 18, 20 years old that ask me all the time, Miguel, I want to be a streamer and stuff. But like when I stream, I'm like, everyone thinks I'm boring or something. Well, go do interesting stuff. And you will become interesting. Like I'm gonna tell you 3 things that
I talk about. We'll go out and do some stuff, and then come back and talk about it.
Right. Now, obviously, there's some people that do some really interesting stuff when they're younger, and then that makes them a little interesting earlier, right? Yeah. Or they're just like crazy. They're like, or like some, and then then they still miss a little of the depth, but they get it eventually, right? But like one thing for me that I'm planning to kind of fuck around with is like I'm trying to learn. I've always wanted to learn how to play the accordion.
Oh wow!
Yeah, because I like Mexican music and stuff, so I'm super into accordion. And there's 2 other instruments I'm thinking about learning, which I'm probably gonna learn first before the accordion, which are pretty ridiculous. I mean, are really, really ridiculous. But it's like, all right, so I'm really giving you something that I've only told like very few people. I'm literally gonna learn how to play steel drums. Like
serious?
Yeah,
you're gonna do that. That's like the Jamaican music, right? That's the Oh, that's cool.
I've always wanted, so I'm literally gonna buy a whole set to learn how to play drums and stuff, and I'll play red wine, and play all the dumb stuff.
Awesome.
All those music.
Have you ever seen this thing called a handpan? Have you heard of that? That's kind of a cool instrument. It's got dimples in it, and it sounds like it's ghosts or angels music or something. It's very weird. But
I think I've heard about that. Yeah, and then they have like the xylophone. It's this one thing where like you strike it and it sounds like you're in a horror movie as well. Super creepy, like organ sort of sounding and stuff, everything. Now, there's another interesting I'm going to learn. This one's just for the memes right here, which is basically I'm going to learn how to play a little ukulele so I can actually play the SpongeBob music and stuff. Because I mean, I saw this video of this. It's so ridiculous. It's like I saw this video of like this mom and the son fighting, and then the brother just started playing the SpongeBob music, just to make them like, and they stopped fighting each other because they were laughing so hard because they were making like it was like imagine your parents or something are fighting, and then you just make it into such a joke with the cartoon music. Killed me, dude.
I love it.
Yeah. But those are just like little fun stuff. But learning that kind of stuff just makes you interesting because like I mean you go out somewhere and you like it's that classic thing where you're out somewhere and then you bust out the old like, oh, I'm playing on the piano, and you're like, you can play piano or you play ragtime. Like that's something I would always want to learn, is like learn how to play ragtime on the piano or something. Right. Like I don't even want to learn traditional piano. I want to learn like that really like having fun groovy music on the piano and stuff like that,
That movie Ragtime. Now I've got the image of Miguel, sitting there with a bowler hat in the 1920s or something.
Oh, no, definitely. Yeah, I mean, people always say about me like this is something like everyone. They say I used to like Miguel used to be a barista or some kind of bartender in your life. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, every time you order drinks or make something, it just tastes fucking delicious. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, what do you?
Hidden skills.
Definitely, man. So I mean, so I guess eventually me and Funny Jim are probably gonna get into a boxing match and stuff at some point, and so we can get YouTube clicks and views.
It's all about the clicks.
It's all about the clicks.
Let's wrap up a little bit. I got to start making some calls for the different sponsors and panelists. And today is Saturday, and then you're back in Vegas Monday or something.
Monday, yeah. So I'll be back in Vegas on Monday and stuff. We're gonna go to sound check for the event and stuff, and then the first official day of the Pulsecon event is going to be Tuesday of next week. and it'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, but I'll be in Vegas the entire week, basically. And we'll do some meet and greets or some point, and then just have fun and go to the parties and stuff. So,
yeah, I'm here until the 12th. If you're here, it will be hangouts, and there's other Hexicans, other people related to crypto that'll be having different events. So follow Dollar Cost, both his Instagram. I went and looked at the Instagram. I am following it, so that's good. Make sure that you don't, if you're in the audience, make sure that you spell correctly. If any of us reach out and it's like we're asking you weird questions about your bank account and things like that, that isn't us, dude. It's just not us. I've gotten like so many imposters over the past week.
Yeah. Let's talk for 1 second. Like, me and Funny Jim are not going to DM you unless it's like or the only channel is like we met you in real life or something like that. And it's like, hey, bro, I'll DM you later the address, or like it's got to be something we've talked about. If it's just like randomly, like you don't know me, and I'm not going to message you out of the blue. Right. You message me, I might message you back, but you have to be very. We are never going to ask you for your private keys. We're never going to ask you to send me this, send me that. Like, send me 1 Bitcoin, I'll send you 2 back. I mean, you lost your money, bro. That's what's going to happen. Yeah, so.
Anytime if I do DM someone as a first contact or whatever, I always shoot a video. It's so easy on your phone. You can do it on Telegram. You can do it, just make a video file of like 20 seconds and say, here, I'm sending you a message to you, and say their name, whoever it is, and to follow back or whatever. But I always do like a video conference because there are so many scammers out there, man.
No, definitely. So, Funny Jim, where can people follow you, man?
Same spelling, just make sure it's spelled correctly. I'm on every platform. So if you put that into Google, LinkedIn, you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. I even have an OnlyFans. You want to join my OnlyFans? OnlyFans.com/fundingjim. So I'm.
Did you just hit me with the OF right now, bro? Did you really hit me with the OnlyFans?
Go look at it, dude. You can pull it up on screen. There's nothing there as content. I wanted to prevent people from hacking my address or putting some bullshit up there. So I grabbed the URL in like February of 2021. I was like, this hex thing might take off. I need to make sure I protect all of my IP. So I got the link tree. I got all the different URLs, including OnlyFans.
When bathwater, Funny Jim? When bathwater?
Exactly. Yeah. Got a quarter of that market, man.
Damn, I would have never in a million years guessed like Funny Jim at OnlyFans. Wow.
It's just, hey, you know what? Some of these things change their company. Like Snapchat originally was something different. Sprint used to be multi-level marketing. Some of these companies, they will have IP and they'll have audience, and then they'll pivot the product. So I went on a spree. Like, I built software, and actually I'm going to start doing this more. You've seen these cards that I put out, let me see, last year or whatever it was. They are hotel cards, right? So it's like you have a hotel admission.
Yeah.
Let me do that. So if you scan that, it will go to Hex Crypto on all the different URLs for Hex. But cool. What it is why I'm commenting is because me and Hex Monkey and another guy, we sat down and built a piece of software. And the piece of software basically put the username in, and it will tell you if that username is claimed by Instagram, someone else already got it on Twitter, someone else already got it on these other things, right? Because I see people, they start to have some brand. They say, hey, I'm going to start a Twitter account. And then they go and try to have that same username on Instagram, and it was already taken. Like, it's already taken by somebody else. So actually, I think that, building out your brand idea first, and we built this software where they can plug it in, and then you can claim all of them. So I went on a spree, years ago, and I was like, okay, I need to make sure that if it's out there, just claim it, even if I'm never going to use it. So I do have an OnlyFans.
Hex Monkey, shout out to you with $50 super chat. Another great stream filled with gold. Thanks for everything you do, Gary and Miguel. And then follow DCC on OnlyFans. He plays steel drums and everything. That's right, butt naked. And Yeah, you can follow me at basically Dollar Cost Crypto on YouTube, Instagram, and on Twitter. All the links are below, as well as join the Citadel if you want to escape mediocrity and kind of get out of this kind of rut you end up putting yourself into your life and stuff. If people around you are of a terrible mentality, join to the Citadel. It's $100 a month, and every additional month that you're into the Citadel, you get $50 off the crypto mindset courses and stuff. And this is the way out, you guys. So join the Citadel today, and yeah, man. Beautiful.
Oh, good, man.
Gary,
it's been too long in the making, and I really appreciate all of the efforts that you do. Again, you're kind of like Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary Vaynerchuk talks about give, and then when people know that you have value, ask. So if
the thank you economy. Yeah.
Thank you economy, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and again, it's not that you're letting anyone walk over you. You have your stance, you have your available, you have your resources that you can or can't commit to an audience. So you definitely keep your, don't feel like you're beholden to everyone that asks every kind of charity request. But outside of that, give. Thank you economy. That's the narrative I like. I think that Richard put a lot of that kind of narrative into the Hex community. He gave a lot of information and knowledge and things like that well before there was a product, well before this Hex thing even launched. And I kind of want to carry that mentality forward with these new things like Pulse Chain, PulseX, and my particular brand. But I really appreciate everything that you've ever done. You like I said, even I said on Fresh and Fit, you saved me quite a bit with repositioning my staking ladder and things like that. I owe you in so many ways. Appreciate it, man.
Hey, no problem, man. And then thank you so much, you guys. Yeah, my next stream will be next Tuesday. I will give you guys the time on Tuesday because I just remembered that we might be at the conference at the time. So maybe we might do a live stream at the conference or something like that. We'll do something special. We'll see.
I'm getting confirmation for Tuesday and Wednesday. Joe Paris and David Gockstein may do a live stream with me from the expo.
Okay.
With a panelist like the Netflix guy and things like that. So you'll be invited to that as well if that comes off.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'll definitely will be. So just be on the lookout. I'll be posting things on social media, any live streams that we're on and stuff like that. And then as soon as things kind of calm down a little bit with Pulsecon, then we'll be back to the regular streaming times of Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So thank you guys so much. Glad to see you guys here, and peace.